Hola amigas, amigos de Charlie News, los invito a ver a continuación la entrevista que hemos realizado hace instantes con Christian Thun, este boxeador alemán que también ha vivido en Italia, ha crecido en Inglaterra, donde conoció el boxeo y ahora vive en los Estados Unidos. Se prepara para la próxima velada el 13 de agosto en Dubái, en los Emiratos Árabes. Allí va a ser parte de la noche en la que TNT Maidana también se presente y pelee frente a Robin Zamora. No se la pierdan. Perfect. Now I'm recording right now. So then I will upload this interview in Instagram, in YouTube. I have a YouTube channel
Perfect.
that the name is Charlie News also. And like I
Yeah.
told you before, I broadcast the fight event in a YouTube channel that is called El Suplementario Deportivo, and we do the broadcast in Spanish, of course. And last night we were doing the fight of Charlo and Montiel, and also
Okay.
the fight of Inoue. And well,
Okay.
it's like if you're listening to the radio, and we don't have the rights to show the image of the fight, but well, we do that way because we like
Okay.
very much. Well, I also the interviews that I make, I uploaded to radio where I work, and I well, like 2 times a week, I
Perfect.
participate. So well, that's why I propose
Very
you this.
good. Very good. Yeah, perfect. Sounds great.
Well, Christian, the first reason that I wanted to contact with you is that you will be fighting in Dubai, where an Argentinian, Fabian Maidana, will also be part of the event. And well, I've been reading about you. I've been seeing a couple of fights, but you also participate in paintboxing series event last year,
Mm-hmm.
where also another Argentinians fought like Beto Palmeta, Manu Torres, and
Mm-hmm.
that time you fought with Berman, and you won, of course, that fight. So
Yeah.
do you have a connection? Could you speak with the Argentinians in that event? Are you part also of well, you're not part of paintboxing series, but you received an invitation to be part of that event, I believe.
Yes, correct. I boxed on this paint boxing series last August in Daytona Beach in Florida. And it was great because it was the first fight after well, not really after the pandemic, but during the pandemic, once that restrictions eased up a little bit. So it was just great to just be back. And I was yes, I believe Alberto Palmeta and the other gentleman whom you just mentioned from Argentina, they also fought on the card. They both won as well. So it was a great night of boxing for Argentina and for myself.
Perfect. Well, Christian, I wanted to start this interview for the beginning, speaking about how you start to fight. I've been reading that, of course, you born in Germany, then you moved to Italy, and after that, you went to England, where really start this connection and this where you began to fight, where you were every day you were walking by in train, I believe, by a gymnasium called Cockpit, and then there in that moment you begin the connection with the box. How did that
Yeah.
happen? Is that something that you were looking for? Just came up, or you were thinking to be, I don't know, a football player or another sport?
So actually, it's a good question. So I was born in Germany by a German father and an Italian mother. And I lived in Germany for 5 years to then move to Italy for, I believe, 8 years. And then when I was 13 years old, I relocated to the UK, to London. That's where I essentially started boxing. Of course, growing up in Germany and in Italy, same like in Argentina, we share a big love for the sport of football, soccer. So of course, as a kid, I was fantasizing and dreaming of becoming the next Maradona or something like this, you know. But
Right.
I I mean, I really loved to play football, but it never really took off. Essentially, you know.
You never tried to practice football in a football team, in a club team. I don't know.
No. I did. No. I did play football in a club team actually for close to 6 or 7 years. I played quite a lot of football actually. I even played for my town in Italy, Vicenza.
Okay.
So I mean, but once again, I was playing like in the under 12 or something. So it was like, you know, like
right.
children running around chasing a ball. Really, it was nothing really serious. But to be honest, I mean, I wasn't really talented, and as a kid, I didn't have the guidance of any. You know, we trained maybe 3 times a week, and that's it. You know, there was no real program set up for us to really develop and really become great. Whereas when I was 16, I was in England, I was in London, and I walked into the world famous Peacock Boxing Club. And, you know, I walked in there, you know, thinking I was double hard, this big guy, you know, with a shaved head, wearing, you know, like a wife beater tank top. And I quickly realized that actually I was just, you know, like a big kid and didn't know anything really about fighting or, of course, about boxing.
That's right. I read, Christian, that you were a big guy for your age, and then you started.
I was born 12 pounds, so I was.
We are having a little trouble connection.
Huge. I was over. I was born 5 kilograms. Hello?
Yes, we were having a little trouble connection when you were telling me about that moment that you were walking to the gym for the first time, because you were a big guy for your age, and then you started to fight. And I read that you made 49 fights as an amateur, and that you started around 16 years for your first amateur fight. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. And most of my fights were in England. I've had probably 40 fights in England and only 9 fights. I've had a few fights, maybe 2 fights in Germany, and then 7 fights in Italy, plus minus.
And that moment when you were an amateur boxer, in that time you already think that you want to become a professional boxer? Was that your idea, or it started like a game and then become more serious?
No. The first time, it's a strange thing. The first time that I walked into the Peacock Boxing Club, it just became like an obsession. Boxing became like an obsession. I was telling all my friends, "Oh yeah, and I'm going to turn professional," and then they all looked at me and said, "Yo, slow down. You're only boxing since like 8 days or something." Of course, it took a lot of hard work and a lot of years, to just develop some sort of skill and experience, etc. But since the very early days of my boxing career, I knew that I found what I really loved. And to be honest, I've been very lucky to find what I love. Many people go through their entire lifetime not finding their true passion, their true love for a certain job or sport or whatever they do. Whereas I was very lucky to find what I love to do at a very early age.
And why do you believe that it take you maybe, I don't know, more time that you thought to become a professional boxer? Because you were, I believe that your first fight as pro was 8 years after you began as an amateur. Why did you believe that it took you that time?
To be honest, in 2014, I believe it was, I boxed in Italy in the Golden Gloves final against another boxer. And it was a very close fight, but they've taken 2 points away from me in this fight. In 49 amateur fights and 6 professional fights, I've never even been warned. Like, I'm a quite clean and respectful fighter. Whereas in this particular fight, they've taken 2 points of me, and it was a very important fight because it was the fight which was leading to the amateur to the Olympic qualification event. And this was basically a robbery, this fight. It was truly a robbery. And after this fight, I actually decided to stop boxing for some time. And I only started, I was just sporadically training here and there, really, but I wasn't really training with my aim because I was truly upset of all this boxing stuff. and I only started training again, which was, to be honest, a bit of a signal for me, because I got invited to spar to the Vladimir Klitschko camp, which then, of course, kind of made me think like, hey, what? Hang on, you're an amateur, and you are here sparring with the pretty much the best box in the world. I mean, or one of the best boxers in the world.
You were in the camp with Vladimir Klitschko, and you fought like 3 rounds with him. Something that I read about it, and also you participated in the camp with Anthony Joshua, also with Derek Chisora and Deontay Wilder, for example. You were with the big names right now in the heavyweight division. And when do you believe that you're gonna have the chance to fight against them in the professional time?
Ring. Okay. Well, this now we'll have to go into a lot of detail. The thing, for example, in boxing, sometimes you're gonna have to wait for your chance to fight for a world title. It's for me, it's definitely still years away. It's definitely within sight. It's within sight, but I need to gain some. I need to gain a lot more experience. First of all, we need to gain many things. However, I believe that when my time comes, I'll definitely be ready to really step up and have a great shot at the title and hopefully then win it and yes, go my way essentially. So this is yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I wanted to ask you about it. That in the boxing career, it's difficult to think more than the next fight. I believe you have to take one step at a time. Is this why you believe you say I have 6 fights, I won all of them, but I maybe right now is not the time to think about those big names like Tyson Fury, for example, another one.
Of course.
And do you believe that you still have to do a few more fights before you have that chance? Is that what depends the chance to get there, or it's about another things, about I don't know, the managers, to know the right people? What do you believe that
all of the things which you have just mentioned now are a part of boxing. I need to first of all gain more experience in the ring. I have to, of course, train for a couple of more years. Of course, we need to climb up the ranks, which at the end of the day is the most important, because without being ranked at a certain level, you're not gonna fight for a world title. So it's very important to keep doing what we're doing professionally, seriously. Keep training hard, keep believing in ourselves and just doing well, and then our shot will come sooner or later. As a heavyweight, 29 years, it's still very young. It's very young, actually. As a matter of fact, I'm realizing now only how important it is to have some sort of age as a heavyweight, because you really grow into a man. To be honest, I don't even believe I've fully grown into my prime man. Probably I still need 3 years to feel, not in height, but physically really grow into the strongest that I can really be. So I believe that everything is going to come at the right time, and yes, say in probably like something like 2.5 years time, when our time will come, we're going to be ready. Okay. And we're really going to be ready to win as well. As a heavyweight, you mature later. You need to have some size, you have some strength, because you need to have experience, and also, frankly speaking, you need to have some maturity in your head. Of course, you have to be experienced, but you also need to be somewhat mature to make the right decisions in the ring.
Okay.
So this is really the main thing.
Okay, and if you had to describe yourself as a boxer, I saw, like I told you before, some of your fights. And I believe that you have a strong and powerful jab to begin the way, to then try to connect with your powerful hand and try to make the damage, let's say, to their fighter when you throw when you hit with your hand and your powerful hand. You're a fighter that when you go to an arena and the fight begin, you already think about how you're going to end that fight, or it depends of the guy that's in front of you? How do you react, or how do you plan every fight when in your head, let's say, when you are on the ring?
Of course. So let's put it this way: you need to get into a fight with a plan, and of course, only looking at the person for 2 minutes, you can already develop somewhat of a plan. Then you can go into detail and really to develop a strategy really for every round and even every minute of the round. So we're definitely going to have a strategy for every fight that we get into. However, the best laid out plans go to hell on the battlefield. You know what I mean? Certain things cannot work out, or you might, get hurt or injured or cut or whatever, and things change. So certainly it's very helpful to have plan A, B, C, and D, and just, perhaps even change the plans as the fight get on. It's, it's not a choreographed event. So you cannot say, okay, he will do this and I will do that. To a certain extent, you can, yes, and you should plan for that. And you should always try to be prepared to prepare the best you can. But it's a fight. It's a non-choreographed event, and punches might be coming from different angles, and it's you never really know, And it's also really interesting. The first round, you will see fighters always a little bit scoping each other out, testing each other, seeing a little bit how they are, and et cetera, et cetera. And then as the fight goes on, both fighters get their timing. Both fighters can read the distance. Both fighters can read the speed of the other guy, and then you can slowly start to adapt and really let your plan roll out. But the plan, it might also be like during the first round to put a lot of pressure onto the guy and get the job done early. So yeah.
Okay, and I want to ask you something different. That is when how came up with the nickname the Hurricane? It was some trainer, another boxer that saw you in the ring. How that began to know you as the Hurricane?
Yeah, so the name the Hurricane, to be honest, to be honest, I don't even know how it came. I mean, I got just suggested to me, and then I kind of liked the name, and living in Miami is very notorious for its hurricanes.
Okay.
It just became like this a boxing nickname, I would say. There is really no real reason why I'm called a Hurricane. It's more of a name that I personally liked, and yeah.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask you before we lost a little bit connection in a few moments ago. That I want to ask you how important was that fight with Tintor when you won the IBO Continental title. I believe it make you believe more in you. It makes you more. It shows us to the people in the heavyweight division that here is a guy that we have to pay attention. How did that make for you and your career?
Okay, so let's put it this way. I was set to fight a gentleman from Nigeria with a 18-1 record back then in the end of September, early October. So then I flew back to Germany, my hometown, to essentially prepare for this fight. And then a week before the fight happened to be cancelled because Germany, pretty much entire Europe, got placed back into a pretty severe lockdown. Okay, next thing you know, the fight was cancelled and rescheduled, etc., etc. Yeah. So I then stayed in Germany because I really couldn't travel. It was a very difficult time for traveling last autumn, October, November. Europe was in lockdown. America was also in a pretty similar area. Travel from one continent to the other, never mind having shows. And then the fight got rescheduled from 1 week to the other. While I was actually until Joshua's training camp, I got told that I would have the opportunity to fight in a small quarantine lockdown bubble show in Germany for a title against an opponent which will have to be somewhat found, because keep in mind, you couldn't travel from countries to countries. So we had to find an opponent that could actually travel to Germany. It was a quite complicated task, actually, also for the promoter to organize this. So pretty much 10 days before I was set to fight an English opponent.
Yes.
Then I actually couldn't travel to Germany. And then a few days before, we just changed the opponent to this Mirko Tinto, who happened to be a southpaw. You know, I didn't really prepare for a southpaw. I didn't really spar a southpaw since August of the previous year. So I didn't really spar a southpaw for maybe 3 to 4 months.
Yes.
Nevertheless, you know, I knew that I was going to be too much for Tinto, and I just, of course, accepted the fight, and we won the fight. But once again, this fight was supposed to be my homecoming fight in my hometown of Germany, in a big arena. You know, I've sold quite a few tickets. It was my first title fight. I was supposed to fight a very strong Nigerian opponent that we really prepared hard for.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, everything gets changed and moved, and then I end up fighting in a show, in a small gym show, without any fans there, against that awkward southpaw opponent, which I didn't really take serious in the first place. So it took a bit the charm away from, you know, my first title fight. Nevertheless, I was really happy to, you know, to have fought, because obviously not many people were lucky enough to fight during quarantine, first of all. Second of all, it was my first title, which wasn't really a reward just for this particular fight. It was more a reward for 10 plus years of hard work in boxing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's more a reward of my entire boxing journey of years and years of hard work. So I saw it more as a step towards a greater goal, which we're going to achieve. And to answer your question, yes, it was a great experience too. Even though it was a quarantine lockdown show without fans against an opponent which I didn't really care about, it was still great to fight.
Yeah, I saw the fight today. That's what I wanted to ask you. And besides that, I wanted to know why did you went to the economics college? Why is that a side of you that you're going to prepare after the box? That's why you studied that, or was it just?
So I can answer you. I can answer this very easily. So basically, I believe that you know, studying in university for me was just the right step. I just decided to do so. You know, in England, education. I was back then in England. In England, education is pretty much free. You know, in America, I know many students that got into hundreds of thousands of US dollars of debt to study in college.
Of course.
In England, university costs like £2,500 pounds per year, which is a really how to say, it's not much really, you know. And it's obviously it's a great thing to have on your you know, on your CV just. And apart from this, I managed to meet a lot of friends, and apart from actually having this degree on my name, I've also met a lot of really nice people who I'm still friends with, and you know, it was a hell of an experience.
Perfect.
And I've learned also, but you know, I also learned something along the way. So it was a win-win situation, basically.
Right. It's also important to get aside to maybe manage your career. Maybe when you're going to have to go to arrange a contract for a fight, you know about numbers. So and that it works for that too. I want to ask you, Christian, a question that I try to make to every fighter who I have the chance to have a little interview. And I want to ask you what happened on the ring. And like you told me before, you were involved in different sports. And you see that in boxing, maybe in the preview time before the fight, when we go to the weight, you see that the fighters talk between them, make a show. And I want to ask if it happened to you on the ring, that the trash talk, no, right? When you have the other fighter that speaks to you and tells you things, and may not go to what happened with Tyson and Holyfield, no, but it happened to you that the other fighter tell you things to try to take you out of the fight. It happened to you when you were an amateur, bro?
Yeah, I completely understand. So like a friend of mine said the other day, fighting is just such a, it's if you go to watch, I don't know, Argentina play against Brazil in the stadium, right? And say if a fight would break out in the middle of the stadium, everybody would watch the fight. They wouldn't even watch the football anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fighting is just such a emotion. It just has so many emotions involved and so many there's so many strings attached to fighting. So fighters often, they tend to they try to hype a fight even more by trash talking or by calling each other out or by having just general banter, really, you know, let it be offensive or non-offensive, whatever their style is, I would say. It's part of the game, you know. At the end of the day, you know, it's all for the greater good of the sport. I believe, though, that there are certain barriers which shouldn't be crossed. You know, I wouldn't really. You can talk and do all that you want, but there's just certain things which I just wouldn't say and I wouldn't wish to my worst enemies. So
Okay.
I believe that as long as you keep it somewhat sensible, I'm pretty tolerant to a lot of banter and trash talk and all that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of you know, keeping it somewhat within reason, basically, you know. And I'm happy of other fighters doing it. You know, I laugh about it, even if it's done towards me. It's just hyping up the fight, which at the end of the day is better for me as well, because more people will be watching, etc., etc.
Perfect.
But to answer your question, yes, you have to somewhat be emotionless in the sport of boxing. On the other hand, certain fighters exaggerate, and this is something I just wouldn't respect. If somebody would just wish me something really bad or whatever, I would embarrass them.
You don't pay attention to what they tell you.
I don't pay attention. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Finally, Chris, I want to ask you about the next fight, and it's going to happen in Dubai, which is a rare, I believe, destination for a fight between fighters that are from a different country, but also I believe that it's a good place to take the event because of the money and the TV attention all around the box. So how are you preparing for your next fight, and what do you believe that is going to happen, and if you have the chance right now or the time to think after that fight, what is your situation right now? Previous this fight, are you having sparring sessions? Are you training every day? What's the moment now?
So the fight with Lucas Browne is my biggest fight to date. You know, it's my 7th professional fight, and Lucas Browne happened to be the former WBA WBA regular world title holder. So it's definitely a massive step up for me. Lucas is definitely not in his prime anymore, but he's still a dangerous man, and I fully respect him. You know, it's my 7th fight. I'm supposed to fight pretty much, you know, like you know, as they say in boxing, a cab driver from Eastern Europe or somewhere, but we actually stepped it up to fight a serious contender, somebody that has I believe a 90% knockout ratio. You know, somebody that has 29 fights with 26 victories and only 3 losses. You know, he's definitely, absolutely somebody to be taken serious of. And I do not understand people that call him finished, washed out. I mean, certainly he's not the same that he was 5-6 years ago, but he's definitely a force to be reckoned with, especially with my somewhat limited experience in the professional ranks. We, of course, we are ready for everything, really. You know, we've trained already really hard for a few months, to be honest, you know, but now camp is really heating up. We're sparring a lot, you know. We are sparring with really a lot of great names, such as current heavyweight world champion Tyson Fury, whom I've been lucky enough to share the ring with recently, and other up-and-coming contenders such as Joel Anderson, Efa Jagba, to name some, and many more, to be honest. So it's we're ready for whatever. We are confident we're going to pass this test with flying colors. However, we do not underestimate Lucas Browne, even in the slightest, because I know and I'm certain that he's coming to fight, and he's a proud man, a tough man, and a champion to be taken certainly serious.
Perfect. And can you think after this fight, do you you have the chance or the time to think where it's going to take you after this fight?
Yeah. So you know, I really like to focus one fight at a time. As a matter of fact, I like to focus one round at a time. But after this fight, we're certainly going to, you know, after this fight, we were just speaking earlier, we are going to have to somewhat hover around that level of opposition. You know, if you fight a Lucas Browne now, it wouldn't really make sense to go to step 3 levels back to fight complete, you know, cab drivers again. You know, so we're going to have to hover somewhat around that level. and consolidate our work and finish off the year strong with hopefully another three fights and 3 good wins.
Perfect. Well, Chris, I want to thank you for your time and having me and getting me the chance to speak with you, to get to know you. Like I told you when I wrote you by Instagram, this interview that we made in a few minutes that you gave me, we're going to put you online on our YouTube channel, and it's going to be part of the preview that we're going to do in this next fight, where the Argentina Maidana will be also presenting as yourself. So I wanted to thank you very much for this moment, for this minute. And of course, I wish you the best for your next fight and what's coming after it. And
thank you.
So thank you. And I want to ask you if you can send us a little greeting, if you dare to do it in Spanish.
Of course.
Saludos.
Of course. Okay, well, Cesar, first of all, thank you very much for having me on your channel. Happy Father's Day to you as well. I believe you told me you're celebrating Father's Day. I hope that you've had plenty of Argentinian empanadas and chimichurri steaks. Hope that you've been treated to a lovely day.
I hope you can come one day here and we can share all this food and the asado, of course.
My uncle is married to an Italo-Argentinian woman. My uncle in Buenos Aires. He lives in Buenos Aires, so I'm definitely have to come for a visit. Un saludos a toda la gente en Argentina. Mucho respeto del amigo Christian. Un saludos y todas las cosas buenas.
Muchas gracias. Good night.
Thank you so much, Cesar. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Gracias. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.